Okay. How many people had their count get longer? Your count get longer. Okay. Any ideas of how that works?
Yes. Counted faster.
You know, I just want to tell a couple of you that in a minute, when we start blowing out sound throughout our lips, the tea drinking thing's just not going to really work. Whatever. Okay. So, anybody have any ideas about it? Yeah, go ahead, say. No, we can actually hear him now. Oh, you won't be recorded. Okay.
Well, how my user experience was that...
Your user experience?
Yeah, speaking about myself as a machine.
I like that phrase, my user experience. Okay.
There was less effort.
Yeah.
And so the words were just rolling out with less, it felt like there was less kind of more, less muscular effort and also less air needed.
Yeah.
And so my air was conserving. So yeah, it was more than double.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, Margaret.
While I was busy focusing on holding my teeth together or my lips together and repeating my phrase, my breathing was actually extending. So my capacity to take in air and put it out was actually expanding. I wasn't paying attention to that, but that was happening.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling the staff about this lesson. I've been, taught it many times. I've thought about it. And in the beginning, I actually didn't know why. I couldn't figure out. So there's a trick, and I don't really understand how does he do it, And then I did the lesson again. The trick worked again. And then at a certain point, I realized, well, I'm getting a little bit ahead because tomorrow we'll work. I said we'll work with the breath at the end, but we're working with the breath all the way through. But as I wrote in the article, I did write in the article that in Feldenkrais and in Linklater, we take kind of a backdoor approach to the breath. And we use images, we do all sorts of stuff because, first of all, we wanted to organize on a more reflexive level. And even Moshe said, that you don't organize the breathing consciously, really. You have to leave that to self-organize. So, but what's happening is that in Linklater, for instance, well, we can do a little bit today and we'll do more tomorrow, but I mean, one of the warm-ups for the breath is to go ha 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 ha, which is she has images too. So that image is there's a little man inside. If any of you order the book, bring it to the next segment and have a look at the pictures. She has these great pictures. So the picture there is that there's a little man inside your abdomen diaphragm on a trampoline going, and that's making you go ha 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 ha. So it's a cool image. And but for 45 minutes you just went longer than that, right? So you just did that with your diaphragm for 45 minutes and everything else you say, so that the air is, and there's a lot also that happened with the palate, which we'll get into at some point. So, but you weren't thinking about trying to do something with your diaphragm, because the moment you think about doing something with your diaphragm, you introduce so much cuckoo confusion, because it's not it's best to influence through an image or through a backdoor approach. And it's funny that I find it funny because I have this thing I'm put together. It's called voice, breath, and posture. And then I don't teach any breathing lessons in it. I mean, if I do a week-long thing, I do, one breathing lesson, like from ATM, just to kind of, that was your breathing lesson. But every single thing we're doing is influencing the breathing. Every single lesson is influencing the breathing, but in a different way than you trying to breathe properly, because you just see, when you try to breathe well, you introduce so much parasitic effort that you get the opposite. Or even people who say, oh yeah, I've been taught to breathe with my diaphragm, and it's all about my diaphragm, and I really know how to breathe with my diaphragm. And, that's where I'm a yogi, I'm a this, I'm a that. But in the meantime, they're contracting their chest. They're not getting, they don't use their back ribs. They don't use a lot of stuff because they put all their attention. So I'm giving you more than one example, but you see, So when Moshe says adapt your breathing to your needs in the Awareness Through Movement book, he's really having you play around with all these variables so that the organism is free to do what it needs to do.
Is that similar to the business of I've got a frozen shoulder and I can't do that?
No, not particularly. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't find that particularly similar to that, but it's similar to, because we don't have a frozen diaphragm, but I mean, it's the mind imposing on our organism an idea of how we should be, or it's if you try to have a good alignment, you try to have good posture, you will do something static with yourself that will introduce an unknown something. So, and by the way, what's my resonance now? I mean, I still have some, but it's really just right across here. I lost all the lower resonance, didn't I? Which is part of the difficulty for the dancers who try to talk on stage. There's very few that can manage it. I met some who could manage it. But in dancing, I met a lot of ballerinas that were told at a young age that in dancing, we're told to put a corset around the lower ribs for support. And probably if you're going to do all that leaping and jumping, and I'm not a ballerina, so I don't feel qualified to say whether the corset is a good idea for leaping up in the air or not. But I would say that I'm qualified to say that the corset is not a good idea for a big voice on stage or sleeping well at night. So I have been asking some dancers if they have anxiety dreams. I've been doing a little survey. I haven't talked to you about it yet. But I'm not ready to publish my results, so don't worry. But I mean, if you go around for 30 years with the corset here, it's got to affect something. But for dancing, it might be the best thing you can do. But then don't bring it into every other aspect of your life. So adapt your breathing to your needs. Or adapt, change, have all these possibilities. Okay. I mean, it's not the way we think. We just think, show me what I'm meant to do and I'll do it. Or tell me how I'm meant to, And many of you make your living by people coming to you so that you tell them how they're meant to be. Personal trainer, whatever. That's your bread and butter. You know how they should be. But we're up to a different project here. So, yeah, good insight. Now, the other thing about it is that it's the same thing you said, but slightly differently, which is that sometimes when people talk, they don't have an even stream of air coming out. So they give away way too much. They kind of explosive or something. They take too much air out in the beginning of the sentence, and then they run out. So this even, actually that's the example Moshe gave of, he gives this kind of talk that's not one of his better talks, but also talking about the air coming out and how it comes back in. And he gives the example of the sports guys go, and he's second base, and he throws it over, and it's over in the fence, and they're running, and they stole second. You know how those guys talk. That's in America or whatever. All right, so let's do something with the resonators now. Now maybe actually we haven't. One other thing about the tongue, we didn't do this in the nostrils text, but I just want to say, because I mean, one of the most crushing experiences of my life was in the Linklater being told we had to talk with the tongue out of the mouth, and we had to do it, we'll do it together, but we had to do it in such a way that the tongue, to talk without the tongue pulling back. And I told you I was 20 years old, and I had to go home and look in the mirror and see if my tongue was pulling back or not. And my tongue was pulling back into the back of my throat like a complete maniac tongue. I had so much parasitic effort in my tongue, and I had to sit there in the mirror and look at that and I couldn't. I mean, I got a little bit better, but it was so humiliating, really. I mean, I remember it was a really bad moment for me. So you bump into these things, right? I was too young for that kind of self-knowledge, though. I really think I was. I think a 24-year-old could have coped with it probably better, but at any rate. So where does the tongue insert? Much that low down? Take a guess. Any guess. So there's a little bone, the little hyoid, which this guy, does he have? Oh, here's the hyoid. So there's this little, a little bit lower. But it comes from probably further down. I mean, maybe, where do you think of your tongue as starting from? You never think about it, right? So we got into that yesterday a little bit with flipping the tongue. We worked a little bit with the tongue yesterday, but we didn't put it in with the voice yet. So take your tongue out of your mouth in sitting. Just keep your fingers there. Take your tongue out of your mouth. See if you can make it wide and flat, and say your text. Without pulling your tongue back in your mouth. Your tongue isn't even out of your mouth yet. Hate to tell you. Is it? Or maybe I can't see properly. At least, you all can take it at least past your bottom lip. Some people do not have their tongue out of their mouth at all. No, yours is pulling back. No, the other guy sitting behind you, yeah. Feel it, feel it. It's less effort. Take Simon's advice, less effort. Now, while you do that, feel again what happens in your lower belly. In order to see, we said that the tongue usually compensates for what could come from the abdomen. So, feel if this is a little bit woken up now, lower down. Okay, good. And now just say your text. And feel if there's something, if there's a little bit less interference in your sound. All right. Now put the back of, this is Linklater, put the tip of your tongue behind the teeth and say, hi, well, first just do it without the sound. So you're going to stretch it out. So we don't stretch, but other systems stretch. So put the tip of the tongue behind your lower teeth and then take the tongue out of the mouth from there. And what happens is, of course, is the middle of your tongue comes more forward, right? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And when you keep the tip of the tongue tucked behind the lower teeth like that, and you think of taking the middle of the tongue out, is it possible to get a sense that it's coming from a lower place than you usually feel? That the length is lower? In other words, do it with awareness. You feel it starts in your pelvic floor. Well, there's this, I mean, it probably does. It probably does. I mean, there's these very old connections, these kind of lizard and connections through. All right. So, good. So that's the tongue. And then, like Moshe did yesterday, kind of licking around a little bit. And then say, hi. I have to do it. Otherwise, I get to do it with you. But I can't just explain it. I have to. Hi, hi. Hi. And like that with different higher, lower. Now, hi. Now, wow. Now do it again and feel that's a lot of voice for a country like this. Okay, now this time feel when you do the hi, that actually the dome, the roof of the mouth, the palate lifts a little bit. See if you can feel this space inside the mouth, the top of the mouth. Play with the pitch a little bit. Oh, we're almost ready for hey. Okay, we'll get there. Now so the lips. So we do humming. Well, yeah, what we do, let's see, I'm trying to think about the order. Okay, first let's blow out on the lips. So with just air, you do like a horse, you do. And again, you can feel the steadiness. So this is a great example of don't take all the air out on the first, but try to have it be even. And then add the voice, so you go. This is like not working for me today at all. And I've been with Feldenkrais, so I know how to get really angry. I've learned it, all right? Okay. Because it's a third time today, so not just you. All right, now go from low to high. And feel where you have the break or not. Now, I'm reversing out of it. It's okay. We just don't take notes in the middle of ATM. You know that, right? You know our training was almost stopped because of that subject. Moshe said he wasn't going to teach us anymore if we kept doing it. So it's just a long legacy about it. Okay, it's all right. Now this time you go from low to high, or you go from high to low, but you try to save a little awareness to feel that the lower sounds are vibrating lower and the higher sounds are vibrating higher, like a little bit like going up and down an elevator with the horse lips. Okay, go. Good. All right. Now, so next, getting a lot of vibration of sound. Now, next is sinus. So we did the sinus obviously with equalizing the nostrils, but now we're doing the Linklater version. So first of all, massaging the sinus. This is New York talking, the nasal. And I always thought, yeah, keep your head down. You might get into hysterics. I always thought, that the nasal resonate, you didn't want to ever talk like this, right? This is New York. If you've ever seen the movies, the New York people or whatever, the New Jersey people, whatever they are. But then when I started teaching with my Linklater friend and partner, she convinced me that the nasal resonators, like, hey, how you doing? How nice to see you. They actually add color to the voice. So if you're always just trying to be here and low down in your speaking, you see, it's fine, but there's no coloration, there's no modulation. So the nasal is really to add the color. So, all right, so massaging the sinuses. And we already put a lot of sound through it. Probably you already cleaned your sinuses out already today. Now, then massaging the cheeks. That's also the sinus resonators. And then you put some sound in there. So you go, this is called chewing on a hum. And by the way, let me make it clear. You can buy the book. It's all in the book. It's very clear. If you don't write it all down, you can get this material, okay? She writes it in the book, Vocal Warm-Up, Kristen Linklater. Okay, so let's just enjoy ourselves. It's written, it's there in the universe. So now make now make a higher and really move your face around so you get the sounds to go right in the nose. And then you make the sounds go into the cheeks by changing your face. So you go me, 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 me. Now we'll change the hum. Me, 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 me. May, 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 may. Don't introduce anything into your tongue. Just make your face wide. May, 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 may. May, 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 may. And then you do the ma, which is the forward. Ma, 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 ma. Me, 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 me. They make it higher. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. May, 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 may. Ma, 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 ma. Me, 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 may, 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 ma, ma, ma. Me, 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 may, 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 ma, ma, ma. Me, me, ma. Me, me, ma. And then again, chewing on a hum. Then again, chewing on the hum. And feel. And she also has, I'm sure there's a Feldenkrais lesson like this somewhere, but she also has that you take one eyebrow diagonally up and the mouth diagonally down. And then I can only do one diagonal. And you do the other eyebrow diagonally up and moving the face around like that. Yeah, I guess I'm not evolved enough to do it yet, but okay, something more. Good. All right. Now, then you have the high sound for Linklater, and we need a little bit more help about the palate, but we'll do first approximation. So the high sound in Linklater is the key, and I'm not actually, I have a low voice, but what we were talking about on the break is, again, in order to go up, you have to think down. So, and I had an interesting class once with a professional singer who said you even think of the larynx going down rather than going key and squeezing, but you go key, key. So you just think of as if the whole inside is a big dome and you just send it to the top of the head. No, it's a nicer one than that. All right. Now I learned this, I remembered it improperly because I always taught it as a ka, and particularly, especially when I was first in Perth teaching and I woke up every morning to the sound of these god-awful noises. Unbelievable what those birds do, really. Okay, so that's how I thought it was like, caw, caw, which I also rather like, so try that. But technically it's key, but so like the birds in Perth. Do the Melbourne have birds like that? I haven't heard them. The crows, yeah, but I mean in Perth. Okay. Caw, caw. Feel that the... You're individuating out around your cause. It's interesting. Okay. So now, how do you feel? What does your face feel like right now? Kind of buzzing a little bit? Which part do you think you don't usually allow to do anything? Working hypothesis. All right. Now, say your text again. And just feel these vibrations inside. Where do you feel them? Good. And stand up. And come back to this dropping down, up and down the spine a couple of times. First of all, without the hum. Well, maybe I add something to it. Oh, I forgot the li, 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 la, la, la. Okay, well. So, drop the knees. Let the head go. Let the weight come forward so you can stop. It's really a great feeling when you let the head go and then the tail goes toward the ceiling. Knees bending forward. Feels like you'll fall. You can catch yourself and come up. Now I'm doing a year's course in 10 minutes, so but I just want you to have a chance to try it out. Now, think of this business of well, first take the hum on the drop down, open your mouth at the bottom like we did earlier today. Let the sound let the vibrations hit the floor, and then come up and with the sound, with the mouth closed. When you open your mouth, think that sound, maybe make it even a color, like a bunch of blue vibrations that hit the wall, or they go somewhere, they go through space, okay? So make humming, drop down, open the mouth, let the sound hit the floor, humming, come back up, open the mouth, let the sound, you can have it a color if it helps you, or if it doesn't help you, no. Don't throw your head back. Don't throw your head back. I'm not allowed to go back there. Is that it? And the next time you go down, bounce a little bit down there. So you bounce the sound out like, and then come up and just open the mouth and let the sound come out. When you're all the way down, not going down. But when you get down, the tail releases, like Moshe says, you show your ass to the ceiling. Your tail releases toward the ceiling. I'm going to go around and check if your heads are free. Good. Just sit down for a moment again. It's really a lot. I mean, a lot of you don't quite know how to let go of the head in that position, but anyway, you'll get it. Okay, let's just do a tiny bit for the articulators. So, and then we'll move on. A lot of sound in the room. Who feels tired now? Really? Okay. Who feels wired? Less tired? Okay. So now you say with the tongue, li, that's the E sound. Well, this is also a little bit of sound coming against the teeth. So li, 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 li. The li and the me are, the me and the li, you feel it against the inside of the teeth a little bit. Those bones have a lot of sound bouncing off. Li, li, li. And then the lay, 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 different shape of the mouth. The tongue goes up, hits the lay, 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 la, la, la. Li, 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 lay, 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 la, la, la. Li, 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 lay, 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 la, la, la. And then the badagada. Now, that's really, the tongue has to do some fancy footwork there, because the middle of the tongue is going to come up and hit the ba, da, ga, ga. See the ga, da, badagada. Badagada. Badagada, badagada. Dabagada. Make up your own. Dabagada, badagada. Badagada, dabagada. Maradadaba. All right. Good. So now just stand up. And let's do the hum-ma-ma-ma. And then start walking. Hum-ma-ma-ma. Feel it in the face. Hum. Feel the hum in your chest, in your belly. Hum-ma-ma-ma. Ask a question. Give an answer. And then feel if you can begin to, okay, stop a moment. So what we want to begin to do is to, okay. We want to feel if we can stay in our own space, in our own bones, while taking ourselves further through space. So if I would say like, hey, hi Di, hey, well, I have the microphone. It's really cheating. But without going, what Alexander did and created the whole Alexander method, without going, hey, or, doing something to get myself to be. So can I be here and start calling? So that's the whole business of the spine like a chain, of the getting clearer in the back. So let's move, let's go through the space. And when you're ready, it doesn't have to be to a person in the beginning, but you sit. And stop. Good, I got in over that. Okay. So how many people feel you did something extra, like lifted your shoulders or you added, you don't know? Okay, yeah. Okay. So now let's walk around and just do. Now you see if you can actually make contact with somebody from as far across the room as possible, and feel now when we start having the sound be in relation to another person, if we can keep it open or what we do. So, hey. Hey, Bambino. I don't. And stop. Okay. And now you stand across from a partner in the room somewhere. Find a partner far apart. And kind of staying in your bones, you say, Amanda, you can be my partner. Staying in your bones, you say, you can take turns. You won't be able to hear each other anyway, probably, but please lie on your back. Stop! Get your text from yesterday or get your scan for the flexors lesson. Get your notes. We'll do a little text now. Few minutes. Hopefully we'll have time to come back and do it again tomorrow or do something else tomorrow. Don't you think, Julie? We could do it even twice? Okay. So we're only a little bit of the way through. There's a lot more stuff we'll do with the voice, but I think so just 10 minutes each. You don't need no, we just had a break. Just 10 minutes each, but not your partner from this morning, a new innocent person. I'll tell the practitioners, I'll work with the practitioners in a moment. I'll tell you what we're up to here. So the idea is that when you say the words, in acting we call it fulfilling the text or subtext. So when you say the words, please lie on your back, for instance, the word back is like the skeleton this morning, is like those bones that you were feeling. There's a depth, there's a substance. It's concrete, it's a skeleton, right? So it's not, please lie on your back. It's to do something inside while you say the words that you sense either your own back, your own breathing, you think of your partner's spine, you fulfill it internally when you say the words, however you want to do that. And maybe you lie down, Amanda. So, I mean, one of the things that's really interesting about the scan, and we can get more into it, we'll put this into it too, is how long it takes the person to find the part you're asking them to feel. So I can also do it in myself, right? So please lie on your back. So when you feel the part I'm asking you to feel, Amanda, you just raise your index finger, okay? So please lie on your back and bring your attention to your right heel as it's lying on the floor. The contact, the pressure of the right heel. Okay, so see, I repeated something, didn't I? I mean, do I have to repeat those words? Right? But it wouldn't be, we'll do it on the left side, but it wouldn't be, and you raise your index when you feel it. So please bring your attention to the way your left heel lies on the floor, the space behind your left ankle, the left calf, space behind, see, she hasn't even gotten to the left heel yet, right? Okay, yeah, but I mean, so do that, first of all, for the pacing. The person lying on the floor, when you feel what the person's asking you raise the index and then you go on. And then I'll go back, and then the right calf, how it lies on the floor. And I can be thinking of muscles, I can be thinking of the way it feels for the muscles to touch the floor like that. And the space now behind your right knee, and at the same time, I'm doing a lot of things at once. I actually can feel these vibrations of sound inside of myself. And at the same time that they're inside of me, they're coming out through the air, going into her bones. So the way that I sometimes talk about this is like skeleton to skeleton contact through the teaching of ATM. It's a very far out idea. But we do it in FI, right? So to make everything more filled out, concrete, real, that it's very active, how we can use ourselves to communicate to that person lying on the floor. It's not a mechanical, all right, have a go. See how much you can include. So I'm asking you to include a lot. And it's good if you sit in such a way that your head isn't too forward I'm asking you to pay attention to this inside of yourself when you speak. There's something. You're beginning to feel it, right? This idea of something inside that vibrates a little. And at the same time, communicate to your partner in a scan for the beginning of a flexor lesson. You think 10 minutes each is enough? I do. Plenty. 8 minutes. We'll do it. We'll come back and we'll have another chance. But just first approximation. So I'll call 8 minutes. So for the practitioners, I'll talk to you guys. I'll turn my mic off. Okay. So have fun, new partners. We'll go around and listen.